Hello, welcome everyone to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. We are on the new streaming network.com, home of the Going Bold media and Going Solo media. This is a new show, kind of a revamped show from our business showcase. So I hope that you like it. We're calling it BizBuzz Igniting Success. And that's exactly what we're doing. We're going to be talking with business leaders around the world about their business, what they're doing, how they're making it work, why they're doing it, and get a taste of the success in life, because that's what we all strive for, no matter what type of work we do or home life we have. We all want success in what we do, and so that's what we're shooting for. So I am Cece Shatz. I'm the Doyenne of Relationship Building. Those of you that know me, I am the divorce, dating, and the life coach. I'm the president of Going Solo Network, and you can reach me on my website, goingsolonetwork.com. And it is so great being with you guys each and every week. And I want to thank you for joining us on the show. But today we've got a wonderful guest. I want to bring her forward. Welcome, Melissa.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it is great having you. We have Melissa Mo, and for short, just like I have my nickname, it's Banknight, and she's a conscious business coach dedicated to guiding high-achieving women towards aligning their work and soul authentic, thriving lives and businesses. And she has over 8 years, gosh, that's a long time, of experience as a business alignment coach for conscious professional women. And we want to welcome you to the show. I mean, it's just wonderful to have you here. And we're going to talk about your business, your profound connections of the Nova Global. But welcome, Melissa.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's great having you. So tell us a little bit about why you decided not only to get into coaching, because you've been doing this for quite some time, but also broadening into developing this wonderful connection for women called the Nova Global. So I'll let you go ahead and take over and let us know a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. So I never would have believed this career path had you told me, even prior to the age of 30, that this is the direction that my life would go. And I, over the last decade, decided to start doing a lot of personal, like a lot of inner excavation. And so I've been very consistently plugged into personal growth work, spiritual growth, professional growth over the last decade. And it had me really shift the way that I was showing up in the world for myself, in relationship to others, and in the work that I do. And so through asking myself some pretty big questions, like, who am I? What impact do I want to have in the world? What is my purpose? Just those small little questions. I uncovered for myself that I am really here to build community, and I am here to be an igniter in people's souls. And so something that happens, whether you like it or not, is people will hold back from telling me their visions and their dreams, probably unconsciously, until they're ready to actually take action on them, because I'm somebody that really gets you into action about your life in an aligned way that feels authentic to who you are. So pardon me. So when I started to coach, it was because of when I learned something myself, I want to pay it forward. And I knew the difference that it was making. Some of these practices that I was doing were making in my life to relieve anxiety, to feel more whole, to accept myself, to feel more impactful and find my voice. And I knew how it felt not having those things. And so I really wanted to play my role in helping women really come into their own and being able to speak their truth and step into whatever life that they desired to create. So I fast forward to the fall. Actually, it was about a year ago right now that I decided that I wanted to bring the community to life. And so there's a lot of brainstorming, a lot of market research was happening around what is out there already, what are women deeply craving, what are we not receiving, what are we struggling with, and in turn built a global community to fill a huge need that professional women have right now, which we can dive into a little bit later. But What I wanted to do as an overarching goal was to provide a space that felt safe for people to come in and be whoever you are, to not have to mask, to not have to feel like you're alone or holding the weight of the world on your shoulders anymore, and to really nourish yourself, your well-being as a professional woman, not just the results you were producing. So we have been having a lot of fun. It's been a big growth opportunity, and we have just been growing rapidly since we launched. So I'm very excited for what this is going to become.
Oh, that's wonderful. I do believe that it is great to be able to have an organization like yourself for women to be able to go to and just really be themselves, authentically themselves, feel safe in the environment in which they can share how they're feeling, what they're going through, and really truly start designing a life for themselves. Because so often we're told we have to do certain things a certain way. And it's not true. It truly isn't in today's world. We can just do and be anything we want, and it's okay. And so why not be able to, rip off that veil and just go ahead and live the life that you want, live the life that you create. And I love the fact that you're actually teaching what you've walked. And so often you hear of individuals that start, businesses and things like that, and they wonder why they're not successful, is because they truly haven't experienced what they're trying to share with other people, what they're trying to teach other people, what they're trying to sell other people, so to speak.
Yeah.
And if you've walked the walk and you know how you felt before, the tools and the trade and things like that you can go through, that you can learn, the various steps that you can learn, and that healed you and being able to move you forward into the path that you want to go on and share that with other people. That is a blessing, a true blessing.
Yeah.
So I want to thank you for doing that, because I think it's a huge step for you, going from coaching to building a community. And I say hurrah for that. So good going. So yeah. So tell us a little bit about the community itself. Like, what type of individuals do you think would really, enjoy and be able to really grasp a hold of in your community?
Yeah, so we cater all of our events and masterminds and resources and training and development to what we call a soul-led, ambitious professional woman. And that's inclusive of corporate, entrepreneurs, creatives. So it doesn't matter where you're working, but we know that women struggle with the similar things across the board, regardless of what industry you are in. And so that is like the overarching demographic of people that we really support. But inside of that, what I found is, because in the beginning I was like, it's going to be interesting to see who's attracted to this, right? Like, we have our idea, we've done our research, but then there's real life. And it's interesting because the age spread is pretty vast. Like, we have, I would say 30 to 60 is the age. And for the most part, it is somebody that has had some experience under their belt, usually 10 to 20 years of professional experience, I would say on average, that they've gotten out into the world, they've started to do life, and then they're like, there has to be more to it than this. They're craving something deeper, and they may have the answer to that, or they may just know that they want something more, whether that's more impact, more support, more of a voice, less anxiety, right? They know there's something there, and they've probably tried a lot of other places to find it. So we're not the first stop on your personal development, journey. People have been at this for a little bit. They've come to some sort of awakening. They're consciously moving about their world, and they're seeking an opportunity to take everything to the next level, but they want to do it in a specific way.
Yeah.
And it's not the way we've been taught to do it.
I totally understand that, because I think that range, especially like if I look back on my own life and I think about like when I was 30, there was a shift that happened in my life that I realized that things I didn't really like what was happening, where I was going what was going on. But then again, I had no mentors, I had no direction, nobody to help me kind of guide me into what I wanted to do. And so I kind of did various different jobs and things like that, which I was good at and I liked, and it was great. But I've also seen in my work going through relationship loss and then trying to rebuild yourself as a single, and now I'll talk about single women, but being a single woman moving forward, then you're looking at your life again and you're saying, wait a minute, I didn't really like where I was before. I want something new. I want, a better, maybe another challenge or something like that in my life. I want to go a different path, a different way. And they're kind of struggling on how to figure out how to go about doing that. So I can see where definitely in a safe environment, someone can be able to talk with mentors and other individuals to really help them open their horizon as to different things that they can do and be, and you don't have to accept the norm, and that's what I think is important, that we realize that no longer do things have to be set the same way as they used to be. We can open those doors and do something totally different.
Yeah, and that's the fun part.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's great to have mentors to be able to help guide us on that. And also, be real, because if we're being authentic, there's going to be times in our lives when we're going to say, maybe you want to rethink that, or maybe you want to, look at something this way, because so often we do get filled in a negative format, right? We do get into that way, and we want to be able to step aside from that. So tell us a little bit about what you do to be able to help connect those that are not only, joining, but, want to help connect with the individuals that are within the group, but then also with yourselves and those that are helping with the guidance of this. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah. So when we do events, we do 3 virtual events a month, and we have a Denver chapter currently, and we're going to be expanding to Boulder soon. And then probably LA will be the next one. So our vision is that we have in-person communities. We're going to call them constellations to go with the Nova theme, all across the United States and the globe. And so the way in which we curate the events is a very specific way. And really what it starts with is the facilitator, whether it's me or somebody else. I do a small fraction of the events. I actually bring in, experts and people who are really adverse in holding space and providing the value, whether it's personal, professional, or spiritual growth. So it's not the Melissa Banknight show. It's for sure that it's really to showcase and this ecosystem of tremendous women that we have at our fingertips. But the way in which the person is, like the way in which I show up, right, sets the tone. So if I'm trying to be above everybody else and pretend I have all the answers and, like I've already done all the work here, like you guys are below me, then that feels very different than to what you were alluding to of I'm on this journey with you. This is my story. These are the struggles that I have. And I'm very much walking through the fire, holding your hand alongside you. And we have agreements that we abide by in our community. So there are ways of being with one another, the way we listen to one another, the way we speak to one another, the way we allow one another to show up authentically and take courageous action. And so everything we do is really rooted in our values and how we be together. And so that immediately connects people because they feel safe to show up as themselves. So that's kind of step one. We also facilitate connections. So when somebody is in our community, we started off doing one-to-one connections, and then we have now advanced to doing like mini mastermind, self-organized mastermind circles. So everyone applied, and then I curated the groups to be relevant to what season of life they're in, what their desires are over the next 90 days. They have a framework for how to organize and how to really move their life forward in the next 90 days. And then as we continue to improve that program, eventually we're going to most likely have paid coaches that will facilitate a little bigger group. But that'll be a real value add to have executive coaches and people to give that individualized attention to people. So we have connection at like every touch point. Even the woman who's on our board, her job is, I forget what she calls herself, but she's like a connection alchemist. She's a certified connected experience facilitator. So she actually helps us design all of our experiences with connection at the center of it. So it's really just like how we do everything inside of the Nova.
Yeah, that's beautiful. We learned a lot in COVID. We learned that we need that connection with other people. We understand that now as human beings, that it is important for us to be able to connect with other people, and for many reasons and for many ways, right? In many ways. And so it's something that I think now we understand that it's more than just a craving that we have as humans. It's something that is a necessity. And so I love the idea that that's what you're striving for, is to really bring that connection, profound connection with those that are within the group. So I'm not sure if I understand it correctly, you said you're doing in person in Denver, right? You're working out of Denver at the moment, but then you're going to also broaden that out into online type of connection. Are you doing that too?
We already have that. So we have a virtual membership, and then we have a local Denver. So we have
Oh,
a
good.
virtual, called a virtual chapter, and then a Denver chapter currently.
Good, because I was thinking, oh, the people that live virtually, that are away from you, they're gonna miss
No.
out until you get around to their town. I thought,
No,
oh,
we're launching currently a local ambassador program too. So essentially, if you're somebody that loves to host events and you want to be part of a larger ecosystem of support, then we can facilitate co-branded events together. So that's something that's happening in May and June of 2024. So you don't necessarily have to have a whole chapter in order to have this out your front door. You can actually start to, we were just looking at like, what are ways that we can make this easier for people to really gather consciously in ways that enrich their lives and bring them joy. And so we're like I said to you before we jumped on, we've done a lot in a very short amount of time. But to your point about connection, it's how do we get these people connected? How do we get them in the room together, to know one another, to know who's a vetted resource, who can you go to for certain things and feel safe to ask for them?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, when we're talking about connecting women, and we're talking about connecting them in, trying to move them forward, like you said, into, whatever situation they're having, moving forward into that. Are we talking business? Are we talking life? Are we, what are we talking with regards to this?
Everything. Because it's all, it's,
Okay.
you are missing the mark if you are only doing business strategy. You are missing the mark if you are not addressing the whole woman. And, the things that are holding us back in business usually have nothing to do with business. They're like, oh, what's my kid doing at home? What's my relationship with my partner? How do I feel about being seen? Do I feel like I'm enough? Do I have imposter syndrome? Like, am I taking care of my parents who have failing health? There's so much to us as people, and we've really been brought up in an environment where you're supposed to put all that aside. Like, no, that's not here. No emotions here, no personal life. You're working and that's it. And we just don't believe in that. And so, we do professional development, but it's also like professional well-being. So you might have somebody that comes in, and like next month's theme is all about conscious leadership. We're having somebody come in that's going to do in July. It's all about, liberation around your finances. But every single thing, even if it's a professionally focused event, is dealing with you. Like, how's your nervous system doing? Right? Are you taking care of yourself? What's your inner landscape like? And then, right, then you can go be amazing at your job or as a business owner. But if you're not addressing the whole woman, then you're really missing like 80% of the pie.
I love that idea. I think that's very important, because it is true. I mean, there was a time in my own life I took care of my father and, and worked at the same time. And it's like, they expected you to just, leave that outside, of course. But the reality is, your phone rings and you got to go and you got to do what you need to do. And we as women beat up ourselves about that, okay, child's sick and now we've got to take off real quick and go and pick them up at school. And, we feel guilty about leaving and all that kind of thing. But here's the reality. Why should we as women feel guilty about that? Why? Because, and I used to have these conversations with my ex-husband. It's like, why should I feel guilty about taking off work and doing that? Why not you feel guilty about taking off work and going doing that? So it's like, I do think it's important for women to be able to understand that it's okay when we have outside things that get in the way. But now how do we sidestep those? How do we continue on building? If we've got our own business, if we've got, a work environment, how do we continue on moving forward in a very positive way? So I love the idea that you're there and you have coaches for that are helping, create this mindset for us that we can. I think we can as women to have it all. I mean, we truly can.
Yeah.
You
can have it all, but you can't do it all. That's
Absolutely.
where we get stuck. Yeah. And part of it is, and this is, I've been really working on getting myself in the room with expanders. I mean, I think I always have, but really in the last 12 months, I'm like, I'm going to get in the room with women who are playing big in their lives, but they're doing it in a more feminine way. And what I have found from that experience is that I have a new belief around what's possible, because it's not enough to see some famous person doing something on TV or on the internet, or like an influencer on the internet. And you're like, yeah, it's not really relatable. I don't know. I'm not her. I can't do that. But when you are in these sacred spaces and you're getting, you're looking under the hood on what's going on with all these people, and you realize how human we all are, and you see what they've been able to achieve and how they've been able to be while they've been achieving, and the things that they struggle with that you struggle with, and what it makes possible is everything. You're like, wow, I now have relationships with these people who I would normally put on a pedestal and think that's great. I'm so proud of you for doing that, but I'm maybe not worthy of your time, or you're there's this hierarchy here. And I think when we exist in a more feminine space and we do business in a more feminine way, it takes away that hierarchy and it allows us to see what's possible. And therefore our nervous systems, our bodies are like, maybe I could do that too. I see a real life example of how that is possible. And what if I could do that too? So we really need to be around each other in a specific way in order to continue to stretch ourselves. I guarantee I would not be this audacious to build this community had I not been in the room with women who showed me what was possible.
Yeah, I really do think it's terrific. And I love the idea that you're doing it to capture the feminine, because so often I hear, and the struggling with dating is that we are, since a lot of us are business owners, we are working, we tend to be in a man's world, that we leave the feminine side, behind, and we're focusing, we're more driven and goal orientated and all of this, that we tend to not show up in a feminine way. So I like the idea that you are encouraging this and allowing women to be women. Absolutely. I think this is great. So are there any tips or anything that you can give women that, as they're progressing here to, want to develop and move into doing something like what you're doing, joining your group? Can you give them any, things that would help them to be able to know that this is the right group for them?
Well, whenever I do trainings on community building and how to find the right community. What I say first is, clarity is queen. We need to know what we want so we know what to look for. My favorite quote of mine is, I have never met a confused woman. I have met a lot of people who think they're confused, but when you actually ask a woman what she wants, 100% of the time, I have had people that are like, I have no idea. I don't know what I want. And I'm like, well, let's just try this on. Let's just walk this path together. And I ask them some questions, and they always tell me so specifically exactly what they want. So I would say you do know what you want, and you can trust yourself, and identifying what your values are. So you know what matters to you. What are you focusing on right now? I would love for the Nova to be a home for you, but maybe it's not. So what is, right? So what do you care about? Do you care about spiritual growth? Do you care about, I mean, I could say personal, professional, or spiritual growth. Is that something that's really important to you right now? Are you looking for a community that understands parenthood? Are you looking for a community that understands female founders specifically? Like, what are you looking for? And write that out. If you, from there, I mean, this is kind of my journey that I took to find the communities that I'm a part of. Then I do a Google search. Like, what is a local community that represents XYZ, whatever's important to you? And doing a simple search, right? And then going to a couple of events to find out if they actually are congruent with what they say they stand for. A lot of times organizations, they have lovely values, but when you meet the community and you get in there, you're like, I don't really feel that, right? Or you might get into a business community that there's a lot of people that are at a different level that you actually want people that are, I don't mean like in a hierarchical sense, but maybe they're executive level women, but you're getting a lot of just entering the workforce women or women in network marketing. And you're like, that's not for me. So you really need to identify what you're looking for and then go try it out and see how it feels. So we allow non-members to come to 2 events of ours because of that reason, because I want you to be a hell yes to us just as much as we are to you. And what I found is I don't know that there's been anybody that's come to an event, which that's probably a little cocky of me, but I think I could stand by it, that hasn't felt like, oh, I'm so happy that this exists. I have been looking for this and I have not been able to find it.
That is great. That is great. Yeah. Now, so when you're doing your meetings, are you talking, like, do you segment it out for like, okay, this is business, leadership type of things that you discuss, or, a speaker that talks about that? And then do you have something that's more on the personal side of growth and development for the individual? I mean, how do you do that?
So we have monthly themes that guide our curriculum for people so they know what to expect. And they all contribute to like wholeness and overall well-being. So we do have some that are more specific, but it's not less necessarily like per each event, we have like a professional and a personal, because again, they're very blended. When I'm like, we had yesterday, we had 160 women sign up for an event that was with my mentor, who is a ordained priestess of a sacred feminine lineage. And so very spiritually focused, but what she did was just take us into ourselves so that we could really understand what we wanted next, how we wanted it to feel, who we wanted to be there, what we wanted to create, why we wanted to create it, why it mattered to us. So I got a lot of clarity around my business from a spiritual teacher who just had me close my eyes and picture myself doing different, so it's so interconnected. But the way we structure our events, we have different formats. So we have one that's specific to networking, but I would say more of an unconventional networking, like a deep, meaningful connection networking. We have one that's an ask give. So it's members only, where we bring whatever we request that we have from the community and something to offer. We have one that's a guest speaker. And those are our virtual events. And then our in-person events, we do a breakfast gathering that's called a visionary circle. And we always have a centralized discussion around a topic. So last month, the theme of this month was all about living a life of magic and embracing your feminine energy. So the question for the group was, what does feminine leadership mean to you? So we had one event that was like a priestess guiding us on a ceremony, and one that was like a leadership discussion, right? Tonight we have an event, or actually tomorrow night, of it's at a local studio, and we're doing a women's circle, and then we're learning a little bit of sensual movement to get us into our bodies and learn more confidence about being embodied. So it's a total blend, but we have set events that are of similar flow, but just different kinds of conversations. And then a signature event in the evening that varies, but it's always experiential. It's always a blast. And it really just connects people to all parts of themselves.
Yeah, that's terrific. Very, very good. I mean, I really like the idea that you're focusing on the woman on a whole. and being able to embrace that. And it doesn't matter really the age group. Like you said, you go from 30 to 60 or whatever. And so it's just really someone that really wants to learn. They want to be able to help others and be able to embrace and embrace a community. I think it's a great thing. Wonderful thing.
I met with a superintendent of one of our school districts here in Colorado, and she was talking about the path that a lot of the like women in leadership inside of the school district, like what are the things that they're dealing with? And she's like, they don't need more business strategy. She's like, they need to know themselves. That's what they really need to elevate to the level of superintendent, which is the track that these women are on. They need to deeply know themselves. I'm like, I mean, I agree with you, but I think that's fascinating to have that explicitly stated, right? Sometimes we don't need another marketing strategy. It's helpful. It's great. It really does move our businesses. But when you know yourself, like, I mean, that's priceless.
Absolutely. Well, so often we're so focused on achieving a goal, especially in a professional, right? We get this goal set in mind and we're really focusing on that. But then when you get to that plane, right? And then you think, that's it, now what? And you're not necessarily happy with your life because as you move forward, you might not have embraced all that around you, your family and creative friends and those kind of things. And so then you feel a little lost and alone and you're not quite sure what you're looking for. And so, yeah, I think I really do feel that creating an environment where we focus on everything on a whole for us is a really good thing. And what that does is create a balance, doesn't it? Because so often I feel women we're not balanced because we have so many priorities, our families, our work environment, and then us, right, individually. And so, how do it's like we're constantly juggling that ball, really throwing that up in the air and trying to make it work. So I love the idea of having a community where it helps you a little bit, guides you, focuses on important issues that you can really stop for a minute and, take a breath and be able to really truly understand yourself. So I think you've done a great job, Melissa, on doing this. And I love the idea you've broadening it out to virtual, to allowing no matter where you live, you can join this and it's great. Yeah. So can you join at any time? Do you have just one period that you allow people to join?
No, you can join anytime. I think that, I look at different tactics of marketing and I know scarcity works, but that's not something we stand for. We are a home that's available to you whenever you feel ready. So you can come have a seat at our table anytime that feels good for you.
Well, let's make sure everybody knows how they can reach you. You can send an email if you'd like to Melissa. That's MELISSA at the novaglobal.com. And that's the THE Nova NOVA Global GLOBAL.com. That's the website, thenovaglobal.com. And so check it out. You guys, if you like what you're hearing today, don't hesitate to reach out to her or to join. And then maybe, like she said, she's got a few, events that you can join and kind of get a taste for it to see if it's really for you or not. But the whole idea of joining a community that focuses on, yourself individually and on the progression of your life and your work experience is really, truly valuable. So thank you so much for being with us. Are there any last words you'd like to share with our audience? Because we're getting up to the timing.
Yeah. Let me just feel into it. I think the thing that just feels really important to me and a big driver of building this is belonging. And so often we think that we don't belong or we're scared of losing our belonging. And or we only belong here, but we don't belong there. We need to belong to ourselves first. And so I want whoever is listening to just know that that's a great place to start. And I have found my true belonging because of the communities that I have been a part of. So whether you come to the Nova or not, I really want to invite you to be brave and to find a community that has you really feel like you can show up as yourself and find that belonging. Because once you belong to yourself, you take yourself wherever you go, whether you're moving, whether you're changing jobs, whether you're dating somebody else, get remarried, you're always taking yourself. So it's the most important relationship that we can cultivate. So I would say you're worth it. You do belong. And if you can prioritize taking the time to find those safe spaces for you, it's going to absolutely change your life.
Well, that's wonderful. I want to thank you so much for joining us here today. And again, that's thenovaglobal.com. I do apologize if you hear the lawnmower guy going. So I apologize for that. But we want to make sure that you guys understand this is life and that's what happens. And we want you to really reach out and, connect with those around you. It's so valuable to be, with the ones that can lift you up and move you forward and really connect with. So again, it's thenovaglobal.com, thenovaglobal.com. So check it out. Maybe join and have an experience with a few events and see if you like it and connect with Melissa. That would be great to do. So thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Well, it was great having you. Well, you guys, you were listening to the BizBuzz Igniting Success. Success is just, it's a personal experience and it's whatever you choose it to be. And so we hope that you will continue moving forward in the way and the path that you want that brings you happiness. So again, we want to thank Melissa here with the Nova Global, and we hope that you'll check her out and enjoy it. You can find all of our information right on the newstreamingnetwork.com. I am Cece Shatz, and I want to thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.